everybody. I have blocks today. If you do not have multiple blocks or items that are kind of like blocks, you will be fine. One is going to be good, especially if you don't have 2 blocks and you have maybe like a small couch cushion or a towel or something that you can have around. We'll use that just towards the end. For the most part, you'll be good just with a body, and we'll get moving here. I lost the page that I wrote this on, but it was interesting. I was talking with a friend on Friday. I had a little Christmas party, and I had like trying to get everything all ready to go. And another friend of mine started to text me, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to go to this comedy show that's on Wednesday?" And at the time that she texts me, I have like every cupboard in my kitchen is open, and I have like 3 recipes going on, and I have like somebody like, "What can I bring you?" And like I can't find the thing I'm trying to bring you. And I just said, I cannot begin to think of Wednesday at this point. Like, I'm just not with you. Anything more than 48 hours into the future, I'm just not capable of wrapping my head around. And she's like, "Okay, cool, get it, fine." So I'm not going to be able to go to the show because I couldn't like get further out into planning. And then I'm reading today some discussions. There was a physicist, Brian Greene, and physicists often become really good philosophers because they spend so much time getting into like the physical nitty-gritty of life. They start thinking about like meaning and deeper application of this stuff. And it was discussing this idea of like time management. We have about 4,000 weeks of life to go through. And it seems like there's like 2 ways of approaching that. One is to be completely overwhelmed at the thought of scheduling out a whole like 4,000 weeks of your life. And the other is people who are more like me, who try to schedule out 4,000 weeks worth of activities and forget that you have to like sleep and stuff. But they were talking about like that creates a lot of anxiety at either end of the spectrum. And Brian Greene said, "I don't think that anxiety ever really goes away for any of us, those of us who feel like we're doing a really good job with this living. But it seems like I have never found anything nearly as effective in the scope of looking at the vastness of time or the finiteness of time. Nothing is so effective at dealing with that as simply being present in each moment. Even if I have no idea how to like set up my whole New Year's resolutions for 2022, can I just stick with today? What do I resolve to do today?" And as I have different needs and responses to that idea, then I can continue to adapt as I go. But to simply in this moment right now can be a lot more useful. We'll be here together for a while. Let's start with face brushing. So in finger and thumb together, going from the center of your forehead outwards towards your temples, just kind of taking that squishy spot at the bottom of your thumb and brushing skin against skin. And then going from the sides of your nose out to your temples, along your cheekbones. From your temples down to your chin, along your jawline. The sides of your nose down to your chin, along your laugh line. And fingertips underneath and behind your ears, feeling for the soft spot and massaging it as you lift upwards from the bony spots. Feeling some length being breathed into your spine. Resting your hands down into your lap. Taking a few deep breaths. Might even set an intention for practice of just one thing or one idea that you would like to bring your focus to. breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. Again, like that. For 3, off the back here. So come on down. Place your right ankle on your left knee, and you might stay here, or you can take your right arm in between your legs and hold onto your left thigh. I actually like to hold onto my shin, but if that feels uncomfortable in any way in your knee, just hold behind the thigh. Take some deep breaths, allowing the hips to open up. About 2 more breaths, just like that. And you're going to keep the ankle on your knee as you release your left foot down to the floor, and then you're going to tilt this whole shape over towards the left. So my foot comes down, my knee is facing mostly upwards. You can even use the left hand to support you. You're going to take your right arm and reach it up by the side of your head, so you just get a little bit longer in this side body here. And it doesn't need to be right next to your head. You can open it up a little bit wider. It's just whatever feels good to you. A few more breaths. Relax your right arm. You're going to bring this whole shape back up into the center, and then use your right hand to hold onto your right ankle and try to get your fingertips in between your toes, which can be very strange. It's probably going to be very strange. And you might be able to get the fingers in between your toes and kind of move your toe bones around. So you're going to do a little bit of ankle work and some toe bone work. If that you can't get the fingers in between the toes, just do this little piggy went to market kind of work, just so that you're moving fingers and toes and getting some hip opening. And then you're going to go ahead and remove your fingers from your toes. You're going to roll over onto your left side. You're going to try to bring your foot up here. So I've got my knee into my armpit, laying over on my left side. And what has probably happened for most of us is that your right hip is kind of getting close to your armpit. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to release the hip down towards the left foot. So I think of rolling my thigh bone down. One more exhale. And relax your right foot. You're going to let all the legs go and come back onto your back, setting the soles of the feet down, and then bringing your left ankle onto your right knee. Big left arm in between the legs and hold onto the right leg if that feels okay for you. Relaxing your hips down and taking some deep breaths. softening when you exhale. Keeping your ankle on your knee, let the right foot come down, and then drop both legs over towards the left, so the sole, or the right, so the sole of the left foot is down, the knee is up. You can use that hand to press in, and then reach your left arm up so that you're getting some stretch through this side space. Long, deep breaths in and out through the nose. One more exhale. And relax your left arm. You're going to bring everything back in. Use your left hand to hold your left ankle and try to bring your right fingertips in between your left toes. And you can, of course, grab and wiggle each one individually, but if you can get those fingers wrapped in between, you're moving around the ankle bones and the foot bones and getting everything all snap, crackle, and popped out. Your right fingertips from your left toes, roll over to the right side. I'm just laying down on my arm here, and I'm taking my knee up into my armpit, but I want to let the left hip drop down away from the armpit. Or you think of your thigh bone going down towards your bottom foot. Another deep breath in, deep breath out. Then coming back to the back, this time bring both legs up and come into happy baby. So I've got both knees up by my armpits, my feet up in the air. I'm holding ankles or feet, maybe even shins. And then rocking a little bit side to side. One more exhale. And release your knees in. So go ahead and hold on to your right leg. Let the left leg extend long, and then we're going to guide the knee over towards the left into a twist. This time your right arm goes out by your side so that you're opening up through the front of your chest. Let your belly soften every time you exhale. One more breath out. Back to the center, slide that right leg out, draw the left leg in, and then take it across the body into a twist. Left arm opening out. Let that belly relax when you breathe out. One more breath out. And then back to your back, knees into your chest. Rock yourself up to a seat. And then I'm just going to roll over to one side. So if you want to face me, do that. We're just going to take your bottom hand and bring it about a foot or so away from your hip. And then this top leg is going to cross in front. My knee and my toe facing forward. I want to get this foot pretty close to me. And then I usually say, push the floor away, get out of this shoulder joint. This time, we're just going to let everything kind of hang down like a droopy hammock sort of space. Yeah. Nice stretch all the way along the side. If you're not getting one, you might be too far back in your hips. Bring that top hip up and forward a little bit more. You'll just feel a little bit more. And then you're going to drive this foot down. Now you're going to press down into that bottom arm. And then you're going to try to get your hips up, maybe reaching the top arm up and over. You might need to move this foot. You feel your hips lift up just a little bit more. Then relax your hips down. And then take this leg, unwind it, can roll yourself around. You can swing the legs around or just face the other way. Take this top leg forward and about a foot or so away from my hip with my hand. And then I want this top hip to roll forward slightly, so I'm really getting into this side space. Making things a little bit stronger. We're driving this foot down and then pushing down now in this arm. So I'm pushing the floor away, maybe reaching this top arm up and over. Big breath in. And then gently releasing your hips down. We're going to swing the legs behind and come into table pose. Shoulders above wrists and hips above knees. Take one hand and flip it over so the fingertips face back behind you. You're just stretching your wrist a slightly different way. And then bring it back. Take the other hand, flip it over. You're just stretching your wrist a slightly different way. And then take the hands back. The fingertips are facing forward. You're going to push down into the fingertips and the arms are really strong. Let's work through a few cat and cow. Inhale, looking up. And exhale, rounding in. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Really lift the tailbone. Exhale, tuck that belly button in as much as you can. And then relax to a more neutral spine. We're going to take the right foot forward here. Bring your hands up onto your front side. See if you can wiggle that foot a little bit further forward and then tuck your arms up. Reaching that front foot down into the floor. So it's going to help to pull that hip back away because you don't want it to get up to your armpit. You want to draw it back. Take another big breath in. And you're going to swoop your arms back and lead with your heart coming forward. Keep pushing down into that front foot. Take it back up again. Inhale, lift your arms, lift your heart. Exhale, take the heart forward, reach your arms back. One more time, big breath in. Big breath out, pushing down strong into that foot. You're gonna come back up to the front. Bring your hands down to your heart, and you're gonna try to get your left elbow down to your right knee. If that's not happening, it's just hand at your knee and hand at your hip. But whether or not you get the elbow onto the knee, make sure that you're not letting that hip go out to the side. You want to pull it back towards that back foot, just the same as when we had those arms swooped back. Now let your belly soften when you exhale. One more exhale. And then unhook your elbow, bring your hands down, slide the right leg back, and bring the left foot forward. Once you get your hands up onto your thigh, you might give a little extra scooch. I just want to make sure that I'm still able to open up this front hip. And then take your arms up, take a big breath in. Keep pushing down in that foot, send your heart back and your heart forward, your arms back. Inhale, lift it up. Woo! Exhale, heart forward, arms back. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, heart forward, arms back. And inhale, lift it up. Keep your heart lifted, hands come to your heart, and maybe your right elbow comes down onto your left knee. You're going to keep pushing that foot down so that you can hopefully keep it mostly leg stable. Ooh, softening your belly. One more exhale. And then unwind it. You're going to bring your hands down, slide your legs back, come down to laying on your belly. Slide your hands back by your low ribs and come up into a nice low cobra pose. Just inhale, lifting up gently. Exhale, lowering down. A couple more like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Doesn't need to be high. Just keep your shoulders drawn back. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Then lift your thumb up. Push the rest of you up. And then press back into downward facing dog. Once you get into down dog, walk your heels out, push strong into your hands. Right from the armpits, press down into the hands. And then you're going to bring your feet together so that the big toe edges of your feet touch.
And you're gonna walk yourself back and sit your hips down on your heels. You're gonna stay here or bring your fingertips back so your heart gets above your hips. You wanna squeeze your thighs together. You can come to a forward fold at any point if this is too much pressure on your knees, but you might try bringing one hand to your heart, maybe both hands to your heart. You gotta be able to get your heart above your hips in order to get this space going. And then take your hands down, forward fold. You're gonna wiggle your feet a little bit wider. And have your knees bent, relax your head. And then you're gonna wiggle your feet even wider, maybe about as wide as your mat. We're gonna sit down into a squat. Now you might be able to get your hips all the way down here, which involves a lot of working around of the feet, or you might keep your hips here. Just make sure your weight is back into those hips. Let's just take 2 more breaths. Keep pushing the feet down. You're gonna take your hands down. We're gonna lift those hips back up. Wiggle the feet back to hip width distance apart. And then start walking the hands forward again into downward facing dog. I'm gonna turn that tailbone up, relax the heels down, and push strong from your heart into your hands. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then looking forward, bring your feet up to your hands, maybe your hands back to your feet. Come to a nice, easy forward fold. Relax into your knees. We're going to leave the left hand down, bend more into the left leg, and then take the right arm open so that I'm going to twist this, opening up this outer hip. One more exhale. Take both hands down, bend into your right leg, take the left arm up. The left leg is a little straighter or totally straight, somewhere in between. One more exhale. And take both hands down, bring your fingertips up to your shins. Send your heart forward and reach your tailbone back. We're gonna pause here for a moment, reaching the backs of the ears out in front of you and the tailbone back behind you. One more big breath in. Exhale, soften that, and then stand all the way up. Lift your arms. Bring your hands down into your heart. From here, you're going to take your left leg back. Wardrobe adjustment as usual. I'm going to be up on my back toes. You can leave the heel down for a few rounds, and when I start to say you're going to stand up, you might want to adjust on the toes there. If you want to put your back heel down for a little bit more balance for a while, you can go for that. You're going to take the arms up. You're going to push down in this front foot so that your hip is going toward your back foot. We're going to keep it tucked in, just like when we had the back knee on the ground. You're going to take your arms back and your heart forward. Keep that hip underneath you. And then inhale, lift it up. Exhale, heart forward, strong, reach those arms back. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale again, reach the arms back. This time, lift yourself up. If you've been down on the back heel, you're gonna wanna come back to your toes. Keep your heart up, just take your arms down so you have a little bit of momentum. And see if you can pick this back knee up as you stand all the way up front of your mat. Go. And then put it down. And then we'll do the other side. And we'll make that a little spicier in a moment. So you're gonna take your right leg back. Keep pushing down into that left foot so it keeps your hips underneath you. Let's lift the arms up, big breath in. And then send the heart forward, reach the arms back. Exhale. Inhale, taking it up. Exhale, reaching the arms back, the heart forward. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Lift yourself up. Keep the heart up. Just drop your arms down. And use that momentum to pick yourself all the way up front of the mat. And then set your feet down and your hands down. And wiggle the feet in together to touch. Add on more spicy things to that in a moment. To start off with though, come back into chair. I want my feet in together to touch. Why? It's a little bit easier for me to take a twist. So go over your right leg. You can have hand in hand, or you can have elbow down. I will warn you, this is harder with your elbow at your knee. So if you start to feel like you're gonna wobble over or it's harder to twist, you just allow it to be difficult. That's okay. It doesn't have to be spot on every time. Just be here with it. You're gonna take your left foot and you're gonna slide it towards the back of your mat. Many steps. You're gonna push down really strong with this right foot so that that hip goes towards the back foot. One more exhale. And unwind this elbow. Come back to facing towards the front. Now you might have to adjust your feet if you realize they're in kind of a weird place. We're gonna reach the arms back and the heart forward again. Exhale. And inhale, come back up. Here's where it gets spicy. Heart forward, arms back. You're gonna come from here to standing up, lifting your left knee up. It can be just for a beat. Go. Ugh. And then set things down. And then we're gonna bring the feet together, wiggle them in so that they touch. Send your hips back, bring your hands to your heart. Keep squeezing the thighs together so you don't have like one knee or hip that's going wonky. And then it's either hands to your left leg or right elbow to your left leg. Ears away from your tailbone, tailbone away from your ears. Then you're gonna start bringing your right foot to the back of your mat. Try not to stand on a tightrope. See how you do with that at this point. Drive that left foot down. Left hip goes back. One more exhale. And then unwinding it, coming up high lunge. And exhale, arrowhead, arms back, heart forward. Stays underneath. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, one more arrowhead, heart forward, arms back, and then come all the way up to standing, lift that right leg up. Ooh, that one was less smooth. And then set things down, hands at your heart. Ooh, okay. Make a little change here. Go ahead and open your legs all the way up. Step about wide. And then we're gonna turn the toes over towards the right side, shift your hips back, come into triangle pose, let go. Lock behind my foot. You can have your hand at your hip or your arm up, whatever you like. I'm gonna bring awareness down into this bottom foot and push down in it so we're really getting this hip open. From your heart down to the bottom arm, the top arm is lifted also up into that top arm. Breath in. Big breath out. And you're going to bend into your right leg. You're going to take your left arm down. Now, if you've got a block, you might move the block underneath your left hand, and then you're going to pivot the left heel up. You can stay here. I've just got my elbow on my thigh, so I can focus on pushing that foot down and drawing the hip back, or you can take the right arm up. Lift both inner thighs, push down strong into that right foot. Big breath in. Big breath out. And take the hands down. You're going to walk everything over towards the left, wide-legged forward fold. Let your knees be relaxed. Let your head be relaxed. One more exhale, and then the weight is in your feet. Bring your hands to your hips, lift yourself up. We're gonna shift that over towards the left side. So you might take your block with you. We're gonna turn the toes over towards the left. So let the block behind my foot. Shift the hips over. Come out into triangle. You can leave this hand down or lift the arm up to you. Pressing from the heart down to that bottom arm, maybe up into the top hand if it's lifted, down into that left foot. One more exhale. Then you're going to take your right hand down. You might bring the block underneath it. You're going to bend into your left leg, pivot up onto the right toes. And you can leave the elbow on the thigh, just looking over towards the left, or maybe you reach that left arm up. Strong down in that front foot. One more exhale. And coming the toes to face all the way over towards the right, so all 10 toes face the same direction. Let your head relax down. One more exhale. Bring the weight into your feet, lift your belly, lift yourself up. You're gonna turn your heels in so your knees and toes are out, and then come down, old softball guy here. I love the looking over towards your friend, your partner. Smile and encourage you. One more exhale. And then stand it up. And bring your legs in. And take a little standing balance here, just tree pose, easy peasy. Take first whatever foot you're gonna stand on, go ahead and work it out. Roll it around, those bones moving and shook out. And then the one you were just moving and shaking out, that one's gonna drive down. You're gonna take the other foot up to your calf or higher spine, and it's not necessary. Whoa, my goodness, okay, push down into that standing foot, and then maybe hands to your heart. Maybe you want arms open or up. You can do any of these things. Actually, I'm liking the heart. But you do you. Big breath in. And exhale. Relax your arms down. Relax your foot down. Give a little wiggle side to side in the booty. And then the foot you just had lifted is now going to be your standing foot. So you're going to work around those toe bones, make some circles, get some shifts going on here. Oh, good. Those bones are going to take her much longer to get through than I thought they were. Good. Yay. Okay. So your other foot is down. We're going to take this leg up. I want you to focus on trying to open the knee and lift the hips up and forward. So if the leg goes up as high as it feels good to you. You can pick a different thing with your arms or same thing with your arms. Goal here is to practice balance, lift up and lengthen, driving that standing foot down into the floor. And more exhale. And then let your leg and your arms come down. Give a little bounce side to side. With this thing, take your feet together. Take your hands, make Charlie's Angels or Vera Mudra, and then reach that up into your overhead luggage compartment. We're going to lift up longer as you breathe in. Exhale, a little side bend to the right, push down into your left foot. Inhale to the center. Exhale, side bend to the left, push down into your right foot. Inhale to the center. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale to the center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Now one more time, make sure that your low ribs are drawn in. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale up. Release your arms down. Separate your feet about hip width or maybe just a tiny bit wider. You're going to take your arms behind your back. You can always hold hips instead. If you interlace your fingers and stretch your chest open, we're going to keep it open as you soften the knees and forward. Now we're going to bend much more into the left leg and then turn over towards the right. If I'm binding my arms here, I can let my arms go over towards the left. I'm just going to stretch the front of that left shoulder a little bit more that way. And then come back to center, looking down. And then you're going to bend more into your right leg as you look over towards the left. That left shoulder rolls back a little bit more. Exhale. Back to the center. Soften your knees, release your arms, let your head hang down. Bring your fingertips to your shins and your arms forward and your tailbone back. Push down strong into your feet so you feel the hips going back and then reaching longer through your spine. One more exhale. And this time lift all the way. Okay. I'm going to spend a long time in this balance because there's a lot of modifications to it and a lot of ways we can play with it. You may want to have a block or a stack of books or something around that you could move in front of or behind you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take, hopefully I can my brain on straight. You're gonna bend into your right leg, you're gonna sit your hips back behind you. And then you're gonna put your left ankle onto your right knee. And then you might stay here. The tendency is gonna be for this hip to go to the side, and then you're gonna fall. So you have to push the foot down so the hips go back. Just like in chair pose, pressing down, both hips go back. So you might stay here, you might come in and out of this quite a few times. You might keep your hands down in front of you because you want to keep your hips kind of low. The more you bend into this leg, the more of a platform you have to put the other leg on. Now, here's the thing. If you've got weird knee stuff and you watch me do this and say, oh, that sounds like a terrible idea, and you're not going to do this. You're just going to stay here or go in and out. Now, what you might do though, bend into your standing leg so that you sit your heel in between your cheeks. Oh my goodness. And this is candlestick. Maybe one hand comes up. Maybe, well, you gotta get your heart up above your hips. Maybe both. I am amazed at how much my body does not want to do this today. Of course, today was the day that I said, let's try this. And if you feel like you have had enough, try all of these different options. Unwind that leg. Let's all unwind the legs and come into a fold where you've got blocks that you could put your hands on in order to be softer in the lower back. Maybe you've got something that'll wiggle and bounce around. And then start to stand yourself up. The whole other side. You've got bending back into the legs, take on your knees, kind of push your hips back. Use these to bring myself down if you're going down. You gotta get the heel in between the cheeks. And you gotta get the heart up above the hips. There might be just one hand. Oh my gosh. Today is not the day. Someday, maybe you're like, people are checking it out. Some of us are spending more minutes than others, I think. And then if you got that ankle hooked up, go ahead and unwind it. We're gonna come into a forward fold. Oh my goodness. And then you're gonna go ahead and bring your hands down and walk your feet back, find downward facing dog. Woo-wee. Big breath in, big sigh, and then release your knees down just gently. And then take your right foot and bring it outside of your right hand, and then bring it a little further forward and then walk your hands forward. You want to feel like your hips are in front of your back knee. You can hang out here. You can bring blocks or anything underneath your elbows or your elbows down to the ground. I'm gonna be here for a little bit. Gently pushing your right foot down into the floor. More breath. And coming back to your hands if you went down. You're going to keep the same general angle of your knee and your toe, but you're going to roll over onto the pinky toe edge of your foot. So the big toe edge starts to lift up, and that might give you a little bit more room for your hips to come forward. One more exhale. And then I'm going to bring the foot back down. Here's where it gets a little weirder. You've got your right foot at the right edge of your mat. I want you to bring it over towards the left edge of your mat. And then you're going to put your shin down. You're going to sit down on your hip. You've got swan pose. So we've got one leg out in front, one leg back. So, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Okay. Got one shin parallel to the front of my mat. I'm sitting over on my hip, and then you're gonna move that leg back behind you as much as you can. So a little bit different than pigeon, because pigeon has us up with both hips up. This one's down on one hip, and then I'm gonna come forward over that shin as much as I can. Really, really deep hip stuff. So finding a point where you can breathe. One more deep breath. And starting to come up. You're going to take your back leg and you're going to tuck it in. And what you want to have is that your foot is not in by your hip. You've got some space away there, yeah? So just right there, I've got this pinwheel shape. And then I'm going to start coming down towards my right elbow. And that might be where I stay. Just feeling this hip open. I want to have the hip lifted, the knee down. I might come back to both elbows. You can go down further if you wanted to, or just hang out up there. More breaths. You're going to take your left arm and cross it over. And use your hands to walk yourself up. You're going to slide that left leg back, slide the right leg back, come back into table pose. Cat and cow. Or a few side to side, cat and cow. And sidling back and center. Taking your left foot outside of your left hand. You're going to bring it a little bit further forward than it first got. You're going to take the hands further forward, maybe to blocks, maybe to hands to the floor, maybe to elbows. Gently, gently pressing the foot down. More breaths like this. And if you were down on elbows, you may back up to your hands. You're going to take the foot and you're going to lift up the big toe edge, roll the weight over towards the pinky toe edge. One more exhale. And you're going to take the foot and you're going to move it from the left side to the right side. You're going to lower your shin and your hip down, and then your right leg will slide back just as much as it can. So my shin is mostly parallel to the front of my face. And I'm going to come down over the shin. Deep, deep, deep work in the hip. Being soft with the breath and our expectations. Got 2 more breaths. Up off of your shin, you're going to take your right leg and take it up as long as your foot doesn't come in by your hip. Then we'll start to take the hands back. You might come down just to your left forearm to open up the front of the right side. You might come down to both elbows. More deep breath. Using your right arm to cross over and walk yourself back up. We're going to take the legs, swing them back again, coming onto your hands and knees, adjusting the mat strangely. And then we're gonna come back onto in a downward dog. If you're done with dog, you can do this next thing from your knee. You'll just take that leg and lift it up. If you've got another dog in you, that's it, scorpion dog. You're gonna take one leg up, bend into your knee and open up your hip. You wanna push down strong in your arms and relax that heel towards the floor. 2 strong arms pressing down. Big breath in, big breath out. Relax your leg down. Take the other one up. So you're going to open up the hip, bend into the knee. So your knee is the highest thing up on your body. Relax that heel down. 2 strong arms pressing down into the floor. One more round of breath. Releasing that foot down. Gently lower your knees. Widen them out. Untuck your toes. Sit back into child's pose. Bring your hands over to the right edge of your mat. Push down a little bit more in your left arm. Rest your head and pull back more through the left hip, all the way through that side body. One more exhale. And hands over towards the left edge, reaching down and out more through the right side, resting your head down. One more exhale. And taking your hands back, bringing them in. You're going to swing the legs out in front of us. Now, if you would like to sit up on anything, a little cushion or anything to lift your hips up and make folding a little bit easier, you're going to take left leg forward, right leg in, and then drawing your body out over that left leg. And you might bend your knee and bring it up closer to you. You might sit up a lot higher, just going as far as feels useful or interesting to you. One more exhale. Start to walk your hands back. You're going to turn over towards your bent leg, your right leg. Slide the left arm down, and then reach the right arm up and over your nose, taking that big side stretch. One more exhale. Then lift up. You're gonna push this hand about a foot away from your hip. We're gonna roll up onto the shin here and press the hips forward, stargazer. Push the floor away. One more big inhale. And then as you exhale, float the hips back down. We'll face towards the legs and just switch them out again. You have to rearrange the flesh. Coming down over your leg. Giving yourself about 3 more breaths. And peeling yourself off of your leg, you're going to turn over towards your bent leg. Slide that right hand down and reach the left arm up and over. Just as you reach that left hip down, I like to roll that shoulder blade forward slightly so that there's a little bit more room across the upper back. A little less tension in the shoulder blades. One more exhale. Then lifting up, hand coming down, you're gonna roll up onto your shin, push your hips and your heart up. Reach out and take up lots of space. Big inhale. And exhale the hips back down. Take your legs and just take easy seat or sukhasana, crisscross applesauce. We're just gonna cross legs. You can sit up on something. I'm gonna take your hands down, turn your palms to face up. Put your index finger and your thumb together, making this mudra of completion and of wholeness. If it feels comfortable to you, close your eyes. Mudra of completion and wholeness. I love this idea that the way that this is taught is that it's not that we're perfect because we have everything right. This moment is perfect simply because it is. If it could be any other way, it would be. So even if it's maybe not what we would have wanted, each moment is perfect. We, as we exist in this moment, are perfect. And we take just these few moments to soften, to tune into exactly what this moment feels like. Bringing in all of our senses. Taking some deeper breaths, maybe even revisiting that intention that you set at the beginning of that day. Our back. It's not quite the last thing that we'll do, but you can come down, heels by your hips. Take a moment to allow your body to relax down towards the floor. A little different orientation changes up how we're feeling. we'll take a bridge pose. Wiggle your shoulders underneath your heart. Make sure your feet are right by your hips and lined up with them, and then push down into your feet so your hips lift up. You can do an extra wiggle of your shoulders together, maybe holding hands, just driving the feet down and letting the hips and the heart rise up high. Take 2 more breaths like this. At the end of your second breath, relaxing your shoulders, letting your hips drift down towards the floor. Bringing your knees into your chest, give yourself a hug. Open your arms out and let your knees roll over towards the right side. So that you're in a twist, maybe you push down a little bit in your right arm and open the left side out a bit more. My arms are kind of like cactus-y shape. Yours might be out straight, yours might be a little bit more Y-shaped. Belly softens as you exhale. One more breath out. And legs coming up and rolling over to the other side. When you get into that twist, push down a little bit more in your left arm to relax and open the right side. Breath out. Come back to the center. Set your feet down. Wiggle them a little bit wider than your hips. Take your arms above your head now, maybe even holding onto your elbows if that's comfy to you. And then roll both of your knees over towards the right. Your left knee is not going to come anywhere near the floor here, but you can reach that left knee away and maybe soften your inner armpit. One more exhale. And bring the legs back up. You have to shift your hips a little bit. And then roll both knees over towards the left. Now that right knee is up a little bit more, reaching away from you, softening the inner armpit. One more exhale. Then bring the legs back in. Let the knees knock against each other. Take a hand to your belly, a hand to your heart. Checking in with this moment again. Roll yourself over to one side. Gently press yourself up. Take your time. Got one more thing to set ourselves up in before we wrap up today. So I'm going to come to a middle setting on my block, on both blocks. And I want one to be underneath my heart and one to be underneath my head. I mentioned if you don't have 2 blocks, you have like a rolled up towel or something, that can be the thing you just put underneath your heart, or a couch cushion. For some of us, it's up awfully high. You can lower it down, maybe not just be popped up. You want to line up whatever's underneath your heart, right underneath the center of your heart. So right underneath, right in line with your shoulder blades. So we're gonna come back here. If you've got just the cushion, then you can probably just set that right underneath your head. Oop, little wiggles there to find just the right spot. And then I'm just gonna lay down like so. If your back feels tender, sometimes bending the knees against each other like this might feel a little bit better. Just gonna settle in. Now you're on your own here, kind of getting yourself set up. If something feels like it's kind of jabbing somewhere or just slightly off and you're not like really like, you might wiggle around a little bit. You might come up and like shift some of your stuff around until you find a place where you feel a little bit better supported. If you set up on the middle setting and it's just feeling like a little bit too open in the chest, then go ahead and lower it down. And let the body be heavy. Allowing this chest space to open up. Being held by the floor and whatever else you've got propping you up underneath. You're welcome to stay here as long as you like, but maybe you've just got about 2 more breaths, letting yourself soften with your exhales. And then if your legs were extended, bending your knees, letting the feet rest. Taking your hands to your head, lifting your head up, and then you can roll over off of your stuff, use your arms to support you. I'll probably set those off to the side, although I'll tell you what, I actually kind of like something being underneath my lower legs to support in Shavasana. If there's anything else you need, if you need to adjust anything, if you'd rather take a seated meditation, legs up the wall, you know all of the things, you've got many options. You do what makes the most sense for you. And try to bring yourself eventually into a place where you can be soft. And allow yourself to rest and simply be here. Just existing gently in this moment. arms overhead, starting to stretch. Bringing your knees into your chest for a hug. Rolling yourself over to one side. Pause for a moment of gratitude for being able to come onto your mat today, for sharing this time together. And when you're ready, finding your own version of a comfortable seat. Our practice, releasing one more together. Big breath in. Going down to the love, the light, and the darkness within each of our hearts. Namaste.